And really, that's why you never had a chance in the first place. Because the goal is not to believe the goal is possible. That's irrelevant. The goal is to believe that you're the person to make the goal possible. But you got to understand that that's a choice. The choice to believe in yourself is a choice. And fundamentally, self-belief is the cornerstone habit, it's the cornerstone idea that leads to success across every single domain. And we already know that instinctively. This shouldn't sound new to you, but it should bring clarity to you. So when you think of like a top professional athlete and they're doing their job, okay, they imagine that person starts doubting. Like imagine the best boxer in the world starts doubting while they're in the ring. They might do okay, but they would definitely do worse than usual. And we know that just because of mindset. Now, on the other side, we've seen countless other underdogs who were definitely supposed to fail, were definitely supposed to not have a chance at all, win and come up on top. And what's the underlying principle? It's just self-belief. I love that talk recently that's been trending, talking about be a little delusional. And really, we all owe a little of that to ourselves. To really believe that we can do it no matter what. To really believe that we can go farther no matter what. Because when you gain that mindset, you gain the proof. Mindset proof, not the other way around. So let me bring up an example. We've all heard of like an entrepreneur. Let's say they're making 6 figures. Let's say they're making 7 figures, 8 figures, whatever. And they lose it all. Like they get in a bad business deal, et cetera, et cetera. They lose it all. And not only did they lose it all, but they're actually in debt. Like they have less than they started off with. And so that entrepreneur goes on to make it all back and make it more back. He comes back stronger, smarter, more able than he was before. Now, if he was like most people, when he failed, he would have looked back to his past and say, entrepreneurship is not for me, because every time I try it, I fail. I invested everything that I have into it, and I actually came out with less. And on top of that, I don't have the time. I don't have another opportunity. I obviously don't have the talent. And so you can see that if he thinks like most people, if he thinks like you in that same exact situation, then that little stumbling block, that little obstacle, and that's all it was supposed to be, becomes his grave. And so now bringing it back to you, bro, you got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in yourself, because I know that you got more in you. It's a fact. I know that I got more in me. And we got to believe in ourselves, and we got to commit to it. And this is not just self-help. This is not just manifestation. No, this is science. There's a science to it. This is a fundamental law and practice about human nature on how we can lean into success. Now, the reason why you might feel like unanchored in your life, the reason why you feel like you don't have enough energy, the reason why you gotta restart every time, the reason why all these things is it can come down to a few fundamental things, but one of them is self-belief. And really the space to actually give yourself to believe in yourself. Because in reality, like, let's say we come up with a conflict. We say that, oh, it's a time. Like, I don't have enough time. Okay, bro. So you say it's the opportunity. You don't have enough opportunity. Okay. So you say you don't have enough talent. Okay. I'm not taking none of that. Because imagine the best, let's just keep with the entrepreneurial thing for this. Imagine the best entrepreneur had the same time that you got right now to do it. So let's say an hour a day, 2 hours a day. Imagine the best entrepreneur had the same opportunity that you have right now. Like not knowing anything maybe. Let's say that they had the same talent. Could you see that person succeeding? Could you, like, think about it. Could you see that person succeeding in where you're at? And if the answer is yes, then that's just proof that it's all about self-belief, because that person doesn't have any advantage. But the only advantage is your perspective believes in that person. On the contrary, your perspective doesn't believe in yourself, or you're having struggle with believing in yourself. Now, I'm not saying this video is going to have all the answers, but it's going to have some of them. Because in reality, like neurologically, when we go out into the world, we look for what is ours. We try to identify what is ours. Okay, so let me put it in like a very specific example so that you'll be able to understand. When you get a new car, you start seeing that car everywhere. You see it on the highway, you see it at the gas station, you see that your neighbor has that car, you see that car everywhere. You never saw that car before. It's because your brain neurologically and psychologically understands that that car is not only yours, but it actually sees it as an extension of you. So there's a slight difference, but it's a very important difference because your brain is wired to find your identity in your environment. It's not only wired to find what you're used to, what you like, etc. It finds literally who your brain thinks you are in your environment. So when you're out driving your car and you're just scanning over a parking lot, not even for real looking at the parking lot, and you immediately identify your car, it's because your brain has a priority filter of finding what is mine in my environment, in my world. Now, we both know that this isn't about a car. This is about how you think about yourself. This is about why you never start that business. This is about why it's so hard for you to go to the gym. This is about why relationships are so difficult for you. It's because every single time you end up in that environment, you're searching for so hard about what is for you. So you go into that business and you can never find success because you never trained yourself to look for it. You can never find a good relationship. You can never work out. You can never be consistent. Look, I've been here, and it's still a wrestle every now and then. Like, I'm not perfect at it, but I understand the underlying principles of why I am stuck. And because I understand it, I'm able to re-engineer my life so that I can actually achieve success. A lot of people will say, start with the action. A lot of people will say, write down thankfulness and stuff like that. And you're trying all these things. You might not never tried them, but some people who do try all these things and it still doesn't work. And it's because your destiny the weight of your destiny cannot be fulfilled on a belief that doesn't even receive it, doesn't even believe it's for you, doesn't even believe it's possible. Fundamentally, which means as a first principle or the first step that you need to do is to believe. Now, with the car example that I brought up, you might be like, yeah, but believing's hard for me. Yeah, but you don't know me. Those are excuses. You're already choosing what to believe when you say that. The reality is that self-belief is a choice, and it's as easy as changing out your car. When you get a new car, you're literally not looking for it on the sidewalk, on the street, or you're literally not looking for it at the gas stations, or you're literally not looking for it, XYZ, but you see it all the time. And so you made a very subtle choice, but it had very noticeable, and you could even say big impacts into your life off of a very small choice. And that's the same thing that happens with your heart and your mind, is that off the very small choice of believing that you can, then you can. And so with that being said, I just want to make it super clear before we get into this. I'm actually going to help you with this. But before we get into it, I want you to know that belief is not it's not like ego. I'm not saying believe that, in yourself that you can work out or whatever and then go to the gym and lift 450 pounds. No, don't be that person, please. Belief is not going into situations without wisdom, without a little insight. No. I'm not telling you to do that. Belief is not believing that God is going to give you something without sacrifice. No, he will never do that. I'm saying that belief is alignment. That if you really want to step into, and you really want to, everybody has something that they want to. And if if you really want to, then the first step is belief. Now, when it comes down to your identity, and this has been found through like some studies I've gone through, some other insight and things like that, and also what I built myself, but it's the identity formula and framework. It's the anatomy of identity. And there's 4 levels to it. The first one is the ontological point of view. The second one is a psychological. The third one is action. And the fourth one is impact. This is where your beliefs are. And so if you start trying to make the right thoughts, and if you start trying to make the right action, and if you start trying to influence and impact the world around you with the wrong beliefs, every single time you would do it, you will feel very stressed, you'll feel very worn out, and at some point, the rubber band is going to snap back to ground zero because that's what you believe. That's what you are programming yourself to do. But what we're going to get down into this video is teaching you how to reprogram yourself. I need you to understand that number one, it is a choice, and number one, the choice is belief. Now, with that being said, between you and me, I need you to promise me that you're going to take this seriously, because if you're not, just click off the video. If you're not, just click off the video. But if you're serious about changing this part of your life, if you're serious about seeing results, if you're serious about becoming all that you can, I need you to listen to these next few points very meticulously. I need you to embrace them and adapt them a part of your life, because these things aren't just going to happen automatically. But if you do these things with intention, you're going to get results. And so number one is that all belief, every single time you believe anything, every single time, falls into 1 or 2 categories. It falls into the category of lack or abundance. That means when you think of relationships, you're thinking, oh, I can't get that girl. Oh, I never have a good time in relationships. Oh, relationships are for me. Lack or abundance. You know what? There's someone out there for me. I didn't have a great time in this last relationship, but I found out more about myself and what I need in a relationship. That if I keep my options open, maybe I'll find somebody that's more in line with my values. Relationships, finance, yourself, fitness, your parents, your dog, your coworkers, it doesn't matter. There's only 2 categories, like fundamentally, there's only 2 categories of belief, and where all belief is stimulated from. It's from abundance mindset, where you believe that it's a good thing and that you have within you the resources to get a lot of it, or you believe that there is lack, there is pain, there's suffering attached to that situation. With that being said, now that you know that, you'll be able to notice it when you're thinking it. And the second thing that you need to understand and realize is that it's a choice, is that all of these are not based on action, they're based on acceptance. And action and acceptance are 2 different things, but as we all know, but it's very important to define that they are 2 different things, and it's very important to treat them as 2 different things. What do I mean by that? Is that you can literally ignore your past. You can literally ignore what others have said to you, and you can choose a new belief. And other people were saying, yeah, that's hard. Yeah, easier said than done. But like, listen to yourself. What did I just explain to you about how the brain is wired? It neurologically looks for in its environment what's aligned with its identity. Meaning that when you say it's too hard, it's because you have found that truth in your identity. Or on the other side, if you're saying, yeah, this is a real possibility for me, you have found that truth within your identity. But notice that when you made that choice while you're on this video right now, your mom is not behind your shoulder whispering those things that she did as a kid over you, or that person, or your coworker, or etc. Like, when you doubt it, that person or that experience or that situation or that scenario, you're not in it right now. You chose that presently. On the opposite side, if you chose abundance, if you said, yeah, I can, if you said, yeah, there is more out for me, it's because you're presently choosing that. I need you to notice this so that you are able to go forward in your life, not only with knowledge, but authority. The second thing is that when you are realizing that it is a choice, that this choice has to become like a habit. Like you have to train yourself to initiate abundance in every single area of your life. I'm gonna get a little personal. In me, in my life, I've seen success in a lot of places. But whenever I would get success, in my heart, for some reason, I had some like self-doubt, and it would come up everywhere all the time. But I would get success. So I would get the success, but because I had self-doubt, I'll always say, I'm not qualified enough, I'm not worthy enough, etc., etc. And then like I would have the success, but I would fumble the bag. I would literally fail every single time. And it wasn't because I didn't have opportunity. It wasn't because I didn't have time. It wasn't because I didn't have talent. I actually won. But my self-belief about the situation found my identity in every environment that I went into. My identity said, I'm not enough. And so what I had to do to change from I'm not enough to I am enough is make a choice. I had to understand that I can't prove it to myself. It's a leap of faith. And that's what you have to make right now, that you can't prove it to yourself that you're enough. You can't prove it to yourself that you have abundance and finance and relationship and fitness. You can't prove it to yourself. But at the same time, it's a double-edged sword, because the underdog, you can't prove to the underdog that they suck. You can't prove to the underdog that they'll lose, et cetera, et cetera. It goes off of belief. And so once you understand that, you have to make it a habit. Every time you enter into that situation, you got to start with abundance. You got to start with abundance. You got to start with abundance. The third thing that you have to do is make the path clear, make it measurable, make it repeatable, which means that if I believe that I am a good entrepreneur, I'm going to make a clear path of what an entrepreneur is. I'm going to do this one thing. I'm going to make it measurable of what is good. And good is not like making $1 million your first month. Good is not even maybe making $100. Good is showing up. We're first principles, belief. It's just showing up. That's a good place to start. And the reason why that's good, first of all, before anyone gets mad at me and say, oh, that's too low of a standard, is because the people who are losing, the people who will never find success in that area, are people who never show up. So literally showing up is the first step to success. If you show up every single time and every single day and you put in reps, you will win eventually, period. That's why showing up matters. Now, number 3 is making it repeatable. It can't be something that you do one time, and it can't be something that you do with so much intensity. It has to be, I'm talking about both belief and the action. The belief has to be constant. It has to be repeatable. That every single time you enter into that situation, you got to say, I'm enough. Despite my past, despite what the situation looks like. And every single time that you got to rewire your brain. And I'm telling you, if you're invested into stocks, if you go in with that mindset and mentality, you would do way better on stocks. You would do way better in your relationships. You would do way better in almost every aspect of your life, because you're not going off of emotions. You're not going off of situations. You're going off of your internal compass, and you're aligning them with actions that actually work. Now, with that being said, I'm going to ask you again, like, I want you to answer. Tell me, I'm listening. What is stopping you from becoming the best version of you? What is stopping you from doing what you need to do? And if you're saying it's your time, no, bro, you did not. No, bro, no. If you're saying it's your opportunity, stop. I don't want to hear it. If you're saying it's your talent, we watched the video. What's stopping you is that you don't believe that you're the person to make it happen. Whether it can happen or not is irrelevant. It literally is irrelevant. Whether you're the person who can make it possible is the most important fact. And with that being said, choosing or becoming the person to make it possible is just a belief. I was having a conversation with my coworker the other day. And I was talking to him about some of these ideas and stuff. And he was like, yo, well, when it comes to any situation, I never ask if I can do it. I just know that I can. And I just do it. And guess what? He's the person that goes and gets it and does it. And the thing is that is he perfect every time? No. But he has the mentality that he's going to make it out on the other side. So that mentality makes him take more risk. It's just a choice. With that being said, if this helped you, leave a like, subscribe. If this didn't help you, never watch another one of my videos. I'm sorry I couldn't help you. And thank you so much for hanging out, but I want you to connect with somebody who really can impact you and touch you. But if this did help you, if you know that if you apply like rigorous self-belief, I'm not saying maybe I could, I'm saying you can. If you believe that making self-belief a habit, constantly thinking about it, not only when you feel like it, and then also making actions repeatable. If these things helped you out, definitely leave a like and subscribe. And leave a comment. I want to see how this changes and impacts your life. I know it definitely impacts mine. And if you get anything out of this video, I want you to remember my personal belief. The cornerstone of really it all. And it's that identity is a threshold between chaos and creation. Choose life. Sincerely, Sunny.